When we're implementing virtual private networks between gateways, the primary protocol that is used to build and support that VPN tunnel is called IPsec. So in our checkpoint environment, we could identify a VPN community, including Firewall 1 and Firewall 2, that they should become VPN peers, which is what the VPN community identifies. And as far as identifying the networks that are going to benefit, we'd include those networks as part of our VPN domain. So over here on the left, we can call this Site 1 and its network of 192.168.1. And on the far right-hand side at Site 2, the 10.3.0 network. So the traffic going between those two networks in the VPN domain would be protected as that traffic went over the VPN tunnel. Now, behind the scenes, in the world of IPsec, one of the major protocols that's used is called IKE. It's an acronym for Internet Key Exchange. And with IKE, there's a couple different flavors. There's IKE version 1, the original, and then there's IKE version 2, which made some improvements. And whether we're using IKE version 1 or IKE version 2, the main benefit of IKE is the automation and the negotiation that happens dynamically between VPN gateways so they can build and establish and maintain the VPN tunnels between them. And with the original IKE, there is not just one VPN tunnel that's actually being built between the two sites. It's actually going to build, negotiate, and establish two tunnels, not just one, to support this VPN connectivity with IPsec between Site 1 and Site 2. And one of the major questions I've gotten over the decades as I've seen this question is, why? Why build two tunnels if you only need one? Well, the first tunnel, the IKE Phase 1 tunnel, is like the cone of silence. It's like a private party channel between the two gateways, between the two VPN endpoints. So they're going to establish the IKE Phase 1 tunnel first, just for their own benefit, as they communicate and talk with each other directly. And then using the security of that IKE Phase 1 tunnel, they'll actually then build the IKE Phase 2 tunnel, which is often just commonly referred to as the quote-unquote IPsec tunnel. These tunnels are also referred to as security associations, or SAs for short. And if two VPN gateways currently need to have a tunnel, but they don't, if they're using IKE version 1, they'll initiate and establish the IKE Phase 1 tunnel. And as they're negotiating setting up this IKE Phase 1 tunnel, they're negotiating 5 basic things. And I'll go ahead and put them over here. And the easiest way to remember the 5 things they negotiate is the word haggle. Think of them as negotiating or haggling with each other. And each of the letters in haggle can remind us what they're negotiating. And here they are spelled out. The H is for hashing. Hashing helps us verify that data has not been manipulated or tampered with in transit. The A is for authentication, meaning how do the VPN peers want to authenticate with each other? Are they going to use digital certificates or are they going to use pre-shared keys? So they need to agree to a method before they can actually go ahead and use that method. The G stands for group, specifically a Diffie-Hellman group. Diffie-Hellman is the protocol that allows the two peers to dynamically set up and negotiate keys that they can use to then lock and unlock data. And because there's several different flavors of Diffie-Hellman with different strength keys, the two peers need to agree on what they'll use before they run the algorithm. The L is for lifetime, which represents how long should this IKE Phase 1 tunnel that we're negotiating building, how long should it stay up? And then the E is for the encryption. What type of encryption do we want to use? AES, the advanced encryption standard, with 128 bits, or 192 bits, or 256 bits, etc. And then once the two peers have agreed, they'll then run those protocols and create the keys and establish the IKE Phase 1 tunnel. And once that's established, they can then go on to establish the IKE Phase 2 tunnel. And it's the IKE Phase 2 tunnel, aka the IPsec tunnel, that's used to protect the user's traffic. So using the security of the IKE Phase 1 tunnel they've established, they then do some more negotiation for the benefit of the actual IPsec tunnel right here. So regarding the negotiation of the IKE Phase 2 tunnel, they're going to negotiate the hashing algorithm for this second tunnel. It can be different from the first. It doesn't have to be the same. They're going to decide whether or not they want to run Diffie-Hellman again. If so, this is referred to as perfect forward secrecy. And with PFS, it's generating new keys so that we have different keying material, different keys that we're using for the IKE Phase 2 tunnel, and we're not recycling or reusing the keys that were generated for the IKE Phase 1 tunnel. It's not required to do that, but if both sides want to use that feature, they can negotiate it and then run Diffie-Hellman again as part of PFS. They're also going to negotiate for the IKE Phase 2 tunnel how long this tunnel should stay up, and then also the type of encryption that we want to use for this tunnel. So it also does not have to be the same type of encryption that we used for the IKE Phase 1 tunnel. So if we had a 128-bit AES encryption on IKE Phase 1, we could use AES 256, or some different strength, or even a different protocol for the encryption of the IKE Phase 2 tunnel. And let me tell you one sweet thing about Checkpoint. When we define most of those parameters in the VPN community, And then we simply add firewall 1 to that community and firewall 2 to that community. Guess what? They're going to agree. The two VPN gateways are going to agree on all of these parameters because they're the same parameters that we're using for that community. So we don't have to configure one gateway and then hope to remember all the settings to configure the second gateway. We'll just configure the VPN community with all the settings, pop the two gateways into it, and poof, all those details are going to match. In this nugget, we've taken a look at several concepts regarding IKE and IPsec. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.